Pull up a chair, grab some tea or coffee. Welcome to Elaborate Disguise. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening or good night. Hi, I'm Dee. This is Elaborate Disguise, and I just wanted to pop on today and share a beautiful experience that I had. I've told it before on my channel, but again, most of the things have been told with images and not me really telling them. Anyway, this is something I thought about after sharing my spiritually transformative experience. I remembered, oh yeah, I have this really beautiful moment that I put on there and that I could reshare. And it not only is just nice feeling and beautiful, but it's also afterlife affirming. And it happened after my mother's father went home, with a capital H, home. I loved him dearly. He was a solid, strong, constant, dependable presence in my life and in our family. He grew up around in the Depression, and he just, and he was more spiritual than I knew. I only found that out after he passed. But anyway, he was just the kind of man that you just thought would always be around. And he is just not in the way that I thought he would be. And when he died, it was sudden, and it really it shook me. Kind of took. It was if my childhood ended, and I was already like a young adult. It was like in the late or the early 90s. But I don't know why, that it just felt like when he went, all my childhood went with him. It was like the ending of an era. And anyway, many months after his passing, I had been grieving, like we all do. And I had a dream, but it was one of those dreams that's just a little extra. And it felt so real. And after a certain point in the dream, it became real. I mean, it just felt real. I found myself alert in the dream, and I was in my pap's attic, as I'd been many times before. But it was his attic, but not his attic. And there were boxes that were packed, and some of them were open, and they were kind of all around the room, the attic area. And there was an oval mirror, standing mirror, which none of them had. It wasn't anything I grew up with, but it was in the attic. And I was standing in front of the oval mirror, and behind me, on one of the boxes, there was this gorgeous Victorian style hat, or maybe it was an Edwardian hat, I don't know, but it had like a feather in it. It was very feminine and very pretty. And I'm like, oh. And I kind of lifted it off the box and then turned back to face the mirror and put it on my head. And when I did that, behind me, back here, my grandfather just appeared. And I was like, oh. Kind of, he's not supposed to be here type of thing. And it startled me, but not necessarily in a bad way. It just was, like somebody unexpectedly coming into the room. They're being stealthy. And then when that happened, I was transported outside of his house. And we were both at the curb right in front of his house, which was where the street and the sidewalk kind of meet, and there's like a little strip of grass right near the street. Well, he was kneeling, with, one knee was on the grass, and then his foot was kind of on the street, and he was edging the grass like he always did. And he was a very, I think, meticulous gardener, and not that he had a lot of flowers or anything, although he had some, but he kept his lawn very neat. And he was kneeling down there in front of me, and I was standing directly, across from him, looking down at him. And I was like, how are you here? You're not supposed to be here. And he looked up at me and smiled and stood, and then he said, um, and he looked like him, like when he left me. So he was older, with a little more hair, but he was healthy, him, like the healthiest version of him at that age when he left. Um, and he said to me, I'm okay. Everything is all right. And then I woke up. But I like could smell him, and I could, feel the air, and the house was his house, just like I'd seen a million times and visited and been there. And but it just stayed with me because it was the first visitation dream I'd ever had. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that was a thing. And it just was him. And I had been grieving pretty hard, and it just felt like and I believe he did. He just came back to say, "Hey, it's all right. I'm doing good. Chill." Um, and I just wanted to share that with you, or reshare it. I had shared it earlier, but I wanted to do it again, kind of in my whole sprucing up my channel thing. But to me, it was reaffirming that he was still there, that he knew I was sad, um, and that we go on, and that he went on, and that everything in the end, it's all right. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. Give us a like, share, or comment. You could put something, share an experience you had in the comments, or just throw down some cute little emoji for me so I know you're there. Um, but I hope you have a great day, great evening, great night. Appreciate you, and hope to see you back. Thanks. Bye bye now.